What's up, guys? This is Seth.
I'm Len.
And today we're going to talk to you about laptops in college. Some of you guys may know Len is almost done with college.
One more semester being part-time.
Awesome.
And I'm out, man.
Congrats, man. Congrats.
Thanks.
Awesome. So let's say, you've had experience with 4+ years in college, right?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep.
Awesome.
6 years too long right now.
Yes, and you've had a lot of different devices.
Yeah.
We're talking about like laptops, tablets.
Laptops, tablets.
Can you name some of them?
MacBook Pro 11. MacBook Air 11, MacBook Pro 13, MacBook Air 13.
Yeah.
Surface Pro 3, Surface Pro 4,
iPad
Surface
Pro.
Book, iPad Pro. The list goes on.
Yes.
I've used a ton throughout college, whether it was mine or just using my brother's for
Right.
an extensive amount of time.
Right.
So I think I know what
Awesome.
advice to give for
Awesome.
upcoming college students.
So let's say I'm going to college, all right? I want to pick your brains.
All
Let's say I have a budget. My budget is, I can't go past it. It's just straight up. I can't
what's
afford
the
it.
budget,
So
man?
it's $1,500. Let's say I have $1,500.
$1,500?
Yes.
Okay.
So I have $1,500 to spend, and what do you recommend? What should I prioritize as far as like what's most important?
First of all, $1,500 is a lot of money.
Yes.
Don't let anyone tell you that otherwise.
Yeah.
I went to the store the other day, maybe a week ago, and a sales representative told the lady, "Oh, since your daughter is going to be majoring in computer science, she's going to need an i7 quad core. She's going to need a terabyte of SSD memory," and it racked up to like a $3,000 computer
Wow.
to order online. And because he didn't know what he was talking about, he was just like, computer science, you need the best of the best. And the lady, I felt bad, she was like, "Oh, all right."
That was a classic case of upselling.
Yes. So you don't need that much, to be honest. The main thing to consider is screen size, which would be in the category of portability,
Right.
battery life, and I'd say those are the two main points.
Right.
To be very honest.
Power's not that big of a deal.
Power's not that big of a deal. So I'll
That's
tell
a
you.
that's a common misconception, right? Can you
Yes.
explain them real
So
quick?
let's talk about the power first. Why it's a misconception. In college, you're gonna find yourself doing two things: browsing the web,
And typing.
whether it's for research or for personal usage, and typing. You're gonna be writing a ton of Word documents. That's what you're gonna be doing. And I guess it depends what major you're in. But if for some reason you're required to use a specific program, say let's just say for some reason you're in a film class and you're required to use Adobe Premiere Pro, you're not gonna have to use it so many times that you need to buy a laptop.
They have it available.
Yeah, they have it. If you're gonna take that class, there's a good chance they're gonna have it available in the library for you to use on one of their computers. Doesn't matter if it's a community college or a state college, you have resources to use, and you're only gonna need it every now and then. And so you shouldn't determine your purchase like, "Oh, I'm gonna take a gen ed
Right.
for this class. Should I buy my laptop to be ready?" No, you shouldn't. Get a laptop that's portable.
Portable and has good battery life.
Good battery life. And why do I say portable? That's the number one thing. When you're in college, you're gonna find yourself, if you're commuting, that's one thing, of course. But even if you're living on campus, you're moving around a lot, building to building. It's not high school. You're not gonna be in one building. You're gonna be getting lunch. You're gonna be going to your class in one building or across campus. You're gonna be going to the gym, and you're gonna have it with you all the time. The smaller it is, the lighter it is. That's one thing. So on your backpack, it's less strain. But you're gonna find that you are gonna be more inclined to take out your laptop if it's smaller.
And use it.
Yes, and I've noticed that when I used, 11-inch MacBook Air, I have it right here. When I used the 11-inch MacBook Air, I took it out often and I used it. Whereas when I had the 15-inch MacBook Pro,
There's just more effort to take out.
even if it's
setup.
if it's a slight weight difference, it's I guess subconscious.
It's like a slight inconvenience
Yeah.
that you just don't want to do.
Yeah, so my friends mentioned it as well. It's like, I don't really want to take out my laptop. I'll just, use
my phone, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that happens so often. And honestly, when you have a smaller laptop, you just tend to use it more. And that's why the Surface Pro lineup is so popular, because people carry it around like a notebook. So it's always ready to take out, always ready to use. And again, that's why size is so important. And again, it may sound silly, like 2 inches makes that much of a difference. It really does when it comes to being on college and being in college. And a second thing would be
Battery life.
So
this is kind of important, because what we find in college, what I've seen actually, is that people fight over chargers. People fight over the outlets.
yeah,
So
it's
I
like
guess,
a joke between my friends and I. It's like we have 6 people at the table, only 4 places to plug in. So it's like we take turns. And when you're typing long documents, your battery drains fast.
Right. The screen is on all constantly.
Yeah.
And it drains.
And what I found is that when I have like my MacBook Air, or I guess MacBook Pro Max have pretty good battery life, or I guess newer Windows as well, that you'll find you won't need to, and it feels good not being able to. Hey, does my plug reach? And we always ask that all the time. Hey, does my plug reach over there? Does it reach? And that's just an inconvenience you don't want to have. So a good battery life is great. Charge it overnight. Don't worry about it. You can even bring your laptop without a charger. That feels great. Awesome. Opposed to having a laptop like, oh, is it gonna die soon?
Yeah, you're gonna have that anxiety, that range anxiety.
And when that's the case, you tend to use your laptop less because you're thinking, all right, do I want to pull it out to browse the web really quick when I may need it for more important things later? So it's just one of those things. If you're gonna get a laptop, get something that you're gonna use. And battery life and portability, so important in college.
So a quick little tip for you guys who are in college or maybe going to college: get a power strip. You're gonna make tons of friends, and they're gonna love you for it.
Yep.
So yeah, bring a power strip. That's cool.
Yeah.
My next question is Windows, Mac, and Linux. So out of those three, what is your experience and what is your opinion on them?
Okay, so I think you can help me out with this question.
Sure.
I know you haven't been to college, but you have more experience with Linux than I do.
Awesome. Yeah.
I've only used Linux for a couple class projects. So I guess I'll just talk about Mac and Windows.
So what would you get as far as, or what would you recommend me getting?
I guess that's overall personal preference and your experience with computers. Personally, I'd go with a Mac, but...
Are there any problems with that, like technical problems?
Yes. If you're new, I guess not new, but if you're not as tech savvy as some students are, you may have some issues. For example, if you're running Pages opposed to Microsoft Word, you may find that exporting to a docx file will be a little different. You can type 2 pages in Pages. 2 pages and pages. You can type 2 pages and pages, and it'll be 3 pages in Word for some reason.
But there is Microsoft Word for Mac.
There is, but for some reason, it's just not the same. Like, I'll export it.
Slight formatting?
Slight formatting, and sometimes, this is what I found, like, it doesn't pick up the mistakes. As many mistakes as what I found on Windows for some reason.
So this is an issue of consistency.
It is.
And possibly it can affect your grade. I mean, if there's simple typos.
Yeah, simple typos, that's one thing.
Grammatical errors.
Yes. Or imagine you're required to turn exactly a 2-page paper, and instead it comes up to be a 2.5-page paper,
Or worse, even less.
Yeah, even less. And sometimes, depending on your professor, it really could damage your grade. No, I'm not saying that it's going to be like that for sure, but it could happen, and you just don't want that issue.
So Windows is pretty much the de facto standard still.
If you're new to computer, if you're not as tech savvy, I know we have a lot of computer science majors watching this video, so I'm sure you guys won't have that issue because I'm pretty sure you guys know what to do. But there are some. I'm trying to cater towards everyone going to college, and there are some people who don't know, what it's like.
So I'm in the minority in the sense that I use Linux, and I used to use Linux, and I had Linux on my laptop and stuff like that. Is that group of people exclusive to the computer science scene?
From my experience, yeah. I'm sure anyone can.
The only people that use Linux are computer science majors.
That's from what I've seen, yes. And the people that do use Linux, they're like animals. They're beasts.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
They're like the species, man.
Use Linux. It's it'll teach you a couple of things.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just my personal experience with Linux, just by using it.
Yeah.
Using Ubuntu, GNOME, KDE, all these desktop environments. You familiarize yourself with the terminal, and in computer science, you got to go into the terminal and do stuff. And for people that are just starting computer science, a lot of them don't really get what they expect, and it's kind of a daunting task.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yeah, that's true.
Awesome.
I guess there are some other compatibility besides Word. There are some compatibility issues when using Macs, and maybe it will be the same with Linux. I'm not sure, so I'll mention it. My first semester of college took programming 1. And I did a really basic program, and I turned it in and zipped it up. But for some reason, when my professor opened it, because it was a Mac file, when she unzipped it, the formatting was a little different. So when she saw the code, it didn't look right. And she mentioned it, like, hey, the code doesn't look too right. I mean, it worked properly, but it just wasn't up to the standard that it should have been. But I showed her my source code, how it looked on the Mac, and she gave me full credit. But that's just, again, something to consider as a new student. You may run into those issues. Have you ever ran into that with Linux?
Yes, actually. Only when I transfer files from Windows to Linux and
Yes, that's what I mean. Like,
reverse.
and you generally when your professor's opening a file, it's probably gonna be on Windows. Yeah.
But to be fair, if you're in computer science or you're in the computer industry, wouldn't it be a better idea to use a Unix-based system like Linux or
I
Mac
think
OS?
so. Yes, if you're going to computer science, that's one thing. Yeah.
There's already tools available for you that is
Yeah.
not available on Windows, such as Vim or Terminal.
Yeah, if you're going to computer science, you do what you gotta do.
Yeah, do what you
because
gotta do, right?
everything that I said, all these mistakes, you're gonna have to learn it one way or the other. So learn it now, then. But I'm just trying to cater towards
Right,
towards
as
everyone,
far
I
as
guess.
everyone,
Yeah,
not just
yeah.
computer science.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. My last question is tablet-style devices. We've seen this new trend of tablet-style devices, be it the iPad Pro right here,
Yep. The pencil there
and
somewhere, but,
the Surface Pro, the Surface Pro line, and even the Surface Book. What do you think about these new tablet-style computers with this touch interface?
I think they're nice, but I don't recommend it as your only machine.
Now, in that sense, we're not talking about the Surface Book, right? We're talking about the Surface Pro line.
We can talk about both, I guess,
Okay.
because in a sense, it is a tablet Surface Book as well. But let's talk about iOS first,
Right.
And the iPad Pros. They're awesome machines for media consumption. But if you're in class taking notes, you can buy a keyboard, but you don't get the same experience. You're gonna run into a lot of issues. So
You're gonna do extra steps in order to save and files.
yeah, so you can manage, but why would you want to just manage? You should get something that works, especially if you're gonna spend like $1,100.
Right, that's very expensive.
To get the keyboard and everything like that. So I'd recommend getting a laptop over an iPad Pro. So switching over, the Surface line, it is a laptop, yeah. While it's a tablet as well. So it's awesome because you can actually take physical notes. So that's why I do recommend the Surface line for students.
Here's the interesting thing about these new tablets is that even if you have the keyboard, the stand takes up more of a footprint, and that's has brought up some issues with you, especially in these auditorium style desks. Right?
Yeah, you know the ones you pick up and drop
Right.
over. They're
and
smaller.
they're tiny.
Yeah, they're small. So
Yeah.
even the Surface lineup, if you prop open the stand, it would fall off, and you're not gonna have the
Surface
laptop.
is pretty small.
Yeah,
too.
and the Surface is small, but the stand extends out further. So you're not gonna have the actual display vertical 90 degrees, because that's just uncomfortable. But the benefit of using the Surface, you can use it as a tablet, so you can write.
Right.
Whereas with the iPad, when you prop up the keyboard, it does take up more surface area on the table, and it feels like you're having a 15-inch laptop as far as just being on those little auditorium size tables. So I wouldn't recommend getting an iPad.
Budget.
At this point, I know in the beginning of the video I said I recommend a small laptop, but at this very moment I can't recommend a MacBook Air just because it's pretty outdated, and it's a great laptop, but I just don't think the display is great right now. And if they update it soon with a better display, get the MacBook Air. But at this very moment that you're watching this, MacBook Pro 13 Retina display,
awesome.
of course, just because it's still up to date. It's a pretty powerful machine. Again, you don't need the power, but it's there. It's priced pretty competitively, considering what you get with it.
Can I get it for $1,500?
You can get it for less. I believe with a student, if you're a student,
Yeah.
you can get a discount. And I think Best Buy already discounts the laptops a little bit, so you can get it for $50 off of that. So maybe $1,100-$1,200.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So now that
That's for Macs, I guess. But I also recommend getting a Surface Pro 4. I think that's one of the best laptops for
everyone else, but for me,
for you
MacBook.
personally, yeah, for you,
I
a
see.
MacBook, because Seth likes to use OS 10.
I like
more
the
so.
Unix-based operating system.
More so.
Yes, more so.
But I think the Surface Pro 4 lineup is probably one of the, all in all, one of the best laptops for students. It's portable. The battery life is pretty good. Not the best, but pretty good battery life. You can take physical notes with it, writing with a pen, or you can, it's an actual laptop running full Windows 10.
And in your opinion, do you think, obviously the MacBook Pro is going to last 4 years, but do you think the Surface Pro 4 is going to last 4 years?
I do.
Even with the keyboard?
Yes. So, in one of our previous videos, we talked about the longevity of Surface Pro 4. I'm going to have to take some of that back.
Okay.
And I said that the longevity wasn't great, but that's just because in my head, I was thinking, it got outdated fast, because at the time the Surface lineup wasn't popular. Now everyone has a Surface Pro because it's popular. So in my head, that just summed up.
Confirmation bias.
Yes. So I take that back. I think that the longevity of the Surface lineup is great, because some people are using the Surface Pro 3. I know it's only a year or 2 years old, but it's still running strong. That's people are still buying it today. So that says a lot about the machine. So I think it'll last you 4 solid years.
Awesome.
Especially if you get Surface Pro 4 right now. And it seems like Microsoft seems to be, I like that they're adding new accessories. The new keyboard works with the older one. Whereas what I find with Apple is when they release something new, it's not gonna be compatible with your old stuff. But just as far as the MacBook, that thing is gonna last forever.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm gonna have to say, for you guys that are Linux users, that there's really nothing out there for you. You're gonna have to get an IBM, not an IBM, a Lenovo that usually works very well with Linux and usually is very compatible with all the drivers ready.
I would normally recommend a ThinkPad.
But we can't do that anymore.
Right now I can't because I love the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. That was probably one of my favorite laptops at the time. But quality control is terrible.
He's had so many problems. It's crazy.
I bought 3 ThinkPad Yogas, and they all had a display issue. Yeah. The same one, and I thought it was just me having bad luck. But I read in the forum, it's so common.
Now it's not. Let's be fair. It's not just the Yoga line. It's all the ThinkPad lines have gone downhill.
Yes. Yep.
They used to have a reputation for lasting forever.
Yeah.
They used to be above Apple as far as
really did,
MacBook Pros.
But now you read like people's like experience is generally not the best anymore.
Very negative.
And especially you can't always find the best ThinkPads in the store, so you order it. But when you order it, you kind of have to worry like, oh, is it gonna be a defective model and have to ship it back and forth? So that's a hassle.
Yeah. So to sum it up, you Linux guys, man, you guys are going to have to either wait for another laptop in order to reformat or jump to OS 10.
Yep.
So that's pretty much it for this video. Let us know what you guys think. If you had $1,500 to spend, what would you buy as far as a computer or laptop for college?
Too long, didn't watch. Portability, battery life, MacBook Pro 13-inch, Surface Pro 4.
Awesome. Thank you for that summary.
See you guys.
See you later.